On behalf of the Committee for Public Education, we would like to state our opposition to the malicious and anti-democratic treatment of the courageous whistleblower Julian Assange. The attack on Assange is not an isolated incident, but part of a global assault on the basic and fundamental rights of young people and the working class. The criminal role of the Australian, US, Swedish and now Ecuadorian government is a piece with the general assault on freedom of speech, internet censorship and the drive to war. In fact, the very same governments of Trump, May and Turnbull, desperate to silence Assange, are also carrying out a relentless assault on the right of students and educators to a fully resourced public education. As universities everywhere are being corporatised and militarised, academic freedom and free speech is being threatened. In public schools, teachers and students are being subordinated to business interests through high-stakes testing, the narrowing of the curriculum, and the never-ending assault on teachers' conditions. The vast majority of students no longer have the basic social right to a fully resourced, high-quality, enlightened education, which lies at the very foundation of a democratic society. The right of students to participate in an education system that facilitates the development of critical thinkers, curiosity, creativity and intellectual debate, that encourages students to express their opinions and ideas, is being eliminated. What governments and business fear are the emergence of a new generation of Julian Assanges or Edward Snowdens, young men who have shown great courage and principle to speak out and to expose the truth. What business and government is demanding is a generation of working class youth educated in the spirit of passivity, conformity and obedience, to acquire only the most basic skills. In other words, to be work ready for the military or the mind-numbing low-paid jobs. Last week, teachers and education support staff at Footscray City College in Melbourne passed a resolution endorsing this rally here today and demanding the Turnbull government extend to Assange the rights that should be available to him as a citizen and secure his return to Australia with guarantees against indictment and extradition to the US. That resolution has provided a political lead to educators internationally, expressing the sentiment of millions of students and teachers and academics who over the last 6 months have shown great determination, taking strike action to defend wages and working conditions in public schools and against casualisation in universities. Their action against growing social inequality is at the forefront of an international upsurge in the class struggle, a movement that is critical for Assange's freedom. In February and March this year, 30,000 teachers and educators in West Virginia took strike action against poverty-level wages, for decent health care, and against the deplorable conditions in working-class schools. The 9-day strike was initiated by teachers through social media and initially outside the unions, who were desperate to stifle the strike and block unified action across the states. Through the internet, Facebook and social media, teachers were able to discuss, share information, organise protest action and communicate with educators across the country and internationally. The ability to act and organise independently outside the control of the official organisations has struck fear into governments, the unions and the high-tech companies such as Google and Facebook that are at the centre of a bogus campaign of so-called fake news and Russian meddling. Their aim is to censor and outlaw political dissent. Although the unions managed to sell out and end the West Virginia strike, the rebellion of educators continued to spread to Oklahoma, Kentucky, Arizona, across the US, inspiring teachers globally. Thanks to the continued and detailed coverage by the World Socialist website and the intervention of the Socialist Equality Party in the United States, we here were able to learn of the West Virginia strike, to see the commonality of our struggle with them, and to express resolutions of international solidarity. Without the World Socialist website, teachers here in Australia would not have known about the strike due to a conscious blackout by the official media. The right of teachers, students and workers for freedom of speech to access independent information and uncensored internet, to be able to communicate, discuss, debate and organise is a basic social right. The defence of Assange's democratic rights is intimately bound up with the rights of students, educators and the working class as a whole. Educators internationally must stand with and for Julian Assange's release. We call on teachers and students to take leaflets demanding the freedom of Assange, circulate them as widely as possible at your workplaces, universities and schools, and pass resolutions defying the silence surrounding Assange's release. Thank you.